Each of the graduates here today will be receiving a rose. What we'd like you to do with the rose is to pass it along to the person who has been the most influential in helping you achieve your educational success. It can be a family member, it can be a friend, an academic advisor, whomever you may choose. Second, Porter and Chester Institute has their own advisory board made up of different industry representatives who play a key role in helping with our curriculum. If any of you are here today, we thank you for your service. In preparing my speech today, I tried very hard to remember who spoke at my commencement and what was said, but I actually have no idea. And unless I just trick you into remembering, you're probably not going to have any idea who spoke at yours as well. But what you will remember is the parties that follow afterwards. You'll remember your families being here and all the hard work that got you to this point. You'll remember how you felt. And I hope you feel great, because this is a remarkable achievement. This year across the country, thousands of graduates will receive diplomas. Some from schools like Harvard, Yale, and Princeton, who may think their piece of paper is more valuable. But I can tell you this, it's passion, not pedigree, that can and will win in the end. You need to free yourself from comparison. Just because someone has fancier sneakers doesn't mean that they can run faster. Now, I know it wasn't easy, but anything in life worthwhile takes hard work. With this piece of paper, doors that may have been closed in the past will now open with new opportunities. But your diploma does not guarantee you any success. You will have failures. Success is the ability to go from one failure to another with no loss of enthusiasm. Doors may slam on you, but you must continue to knock on those doors until your knuckles bleed. You must pick yourself up, dust yourself off, and then knock again. And if there's no more doors to knock on, then you must build your own door. It's the only way you will achieve your goals in life. It is so easy to waste your lives, your days, your hours, or your minutes. It's easy to just exist instead of live. But don't just exist. Continue to dream the dream that you dreamt when you were young. As anything is possible, so keep dreaming until your dreams come true. In the words of Lil Wayne, the sky is not the limit as there are footprints on the moon. You must follow your passion, stay true to yourself, and never follow anyone else's path. Unless, of course, you're lost in the woods and you see a path, then by all means you should probably follow. What I'm trying to say is to take action. Every story you have ever connected with, every leader you have ever admired, every little thing you've ever accomplished is the result of taking action. As you move forward in life, I hope you reflect back on your time at Porter and Chester Institute as a positive experience. I encourage you to keep us informed about your new adventures, for your success is our success. We pride ourselves on our graduates, and you too should be proud of your accomplishments. So give yourselves a round of applause, because despite all obstacles you may have endured along the way, you did it, and the tassel's worth the hassle. Congratulations. At this time, I'd like to introduce our guest speaker. It's a good friend of mine, Mr. Joe Chabot, who is the Director of High School Admissions. Joe?
Thanks, Mr. Ryan. Well, good evening.
Good evening.
It's a celebration. We can have a conversation. That's okay, right? I'd like to thank Mr. Brewer, the staff, the faculty, the friends, the parents, the loved ones, and most of all, the graduates. Let's hear it for the graduates. I'm going to keep this very, very short, which is another cause for applause, all right? Very short. But I want to share with you a story. In fact, Mr. Casterly over here and I have been friends, since I met him. Just last week, no. A little over, it's going on 3 years now, right? And we both have this joy for hunting. I don't know if you guys knew that about him. And he's a fun guy. Who had Mr. Casterly as a teacher? Does he not exemplify what it is to be fun? All right? You may not know this or not, but he also is an avid hunter. I don't know if he's shared that with you.
Call of Duty.
Well, down in Connecticut, Call of Duty, not that kind of hunting. Down in Connecticut, I have a friend who's got 500 acres. And there's some good hunting on his land. And so, because Joe is the kind of guy who's got your back, and he likes to have fun, he's a good guy to hang out with. So I said, Joe, I arranged it. I said, I know how much you like hunting. I called my buddy up. He's got 500 acres. We're going to be able to go out and hunt on his property. No problem at all. And this guy's got all open fields. He's got like a little, kind of like a makeshift zoo. He's got a donkey. He's got a couple cows, some chickens running around and stuff like that close to the house. But then it's all open fields and woods. So Joe's all excited. He comes all the way down from Massachusetts, comes to my house, and then from my house in Connecticut, it's another hour and 20 minutes out to the edge of the Connecticut border right near New York. And so I get out there, and I said, Joe, you know, one thing about my buddy, he's a little ornery at times. Why don't you just wait in the car? He's never met you. Let me just go in, tell him we're here. I always check in with him before we hunt on his property. I said, let me go and just tell him that we're here. And so, Joe, please do me a favor, just wait in the car. So I go up to the house, and he's there, and he's got a puss on his face, and I look at him, and I say, what's wrong? He says, you know that donkey, he says, this is going to sound foolish. He says, you know that donkey we got, they took in an old mule. It's been on the farm for a long time, but the donkey had some kind of a disease. He says, vet said we got to put it down. He says, I don't have the heart to put this donkey down. He says, I asked my son doesn't want to do it because it's kind of like a pet. He says, but we got to put it down. I said, you know what? I said, listen, I don't particularly like to do it. I said, but I'm not attached to the donkey. I said, I'll put him down for you, and then on our way out, we're going hunting. He said, would you do that? That'd be great. I said, yeah, we'll put him down. So I go out, and I said, you know what? Because Joe likes to have fun. I said, I'm going to pull a practical joke on him. I'm going to pretend that I'm upset that my friend said we can't go hunting after he traveled an hour and a half to my house, and we traveled an hour and a half to the property. I'm going to tell him that I'm pissed because he won't let us go hunting, and I'm going to pull a fast one on Joe. So I go out to the car, and I come down, and I'm like, he said, what's the matter? I said, man, I can't believe this guy. I've known him all this time. Joe, I'm sorry. I'm really embarrassed. I said, this guy, after you and me drove almost 3 hours to get here, he refuses to let us use his property for hunting. I said, Joe, you know what I'm going to do? I'll tell you what I'm going to do, Joe. I'm going to go shoot his donkey. And Joe's like, no way. I said, yeah, Joe. And I went in, I got the gun out, I went over, boom, shot the donkey. As soon as I pulled the trigger, I hear, pow, pow. I look around, he says, come on, I got his cow, let's go. He's got your back, you know, I mean, he's taking it in. We don't go hunting there anymore, thanks, Joe. You gotta have fun. You gotta have fun. Now, tonight...
Donnie's going nowhere.
He's good. Professional code. Students, you know about our professionalism code, right? You all signed it coming in. We talk about professionalism. I want to just take a few minutes, if I may, now that your minds are open because you laughed a little bit, and talk to you about how you take professionalism and turn it into profitability. We travel all over in my department, going into high schools, and I talk very closely with the director of our career services, John Cricky, and we invest a lot in creating an atmosphere where you guys can come in and get an incredible education, and you have. And we talk a lot about professionalism, and really, it doesn't matter what we do at the end of the day, unless you can leave Porter and Chester and get a job and be profitable so that you can make your dreams and goals come true. True? So, we're always looking at what does it take to help you guys have the best possible chance once you leave Porter and Chester, after you leave us tonight. We talk to scores of people. We've got people on staff. In fact, most of the education staff and the executive team we've read hundreds and hundreds of books on success. We've talked to and we've interviewed hundreds and hundreds of CEOs and CFOs, and we've talked to people. I've personally read since 1995. I've been on a quest. I've owned 5 of my own companies. I got my first patent in 1993. I'm not saying that to impress. I'm just saying that I've done a lot. I've been searching for this elusive success. Now, I can tell you that I'm very proud of some successes that I've already experienced. I'm with the same girl for 32 years. We just celebrated 25 years of marriage. I met her in high school. I was a senior, she was junior. Yeah, that's exciting. Now, I can tell you that my whole success with my wife, I almost lost it all because of alcoholism in 1995. She was ready to leave me. Now, I don't say that because this isn't one of those talks. I'm just telling you that along the way, you're going to have to make some decisions. My decision back in 95 was Budweiser or my wife. I'm glad I picked my wife. All right? And so along the way, I've messed up probably more than everybody in this room. But I learn and I want to get better. How many of you graduates, raise your hand if you truly want to get better and you want to enjoy success in your life? Let me see your hands. Thanks for your participation. Now that's like one of those redundant questions, right? It's like everybody wants that. I'm going to tell you, I turned 50 this year. I'm at the halfway point. My grandpa died on his 99th birthday. He actually choked on birthday cake, believe it or not.
Oh my God.
It's funny now after all these years. He aspirated on a piece of birthday cake. Hey, what a way to go, man. You're going to go out partying. My dad died this year, 94 years old. And so we got longevity. So I told my wife, 50 is this year. August 28th, don't hesitate to send flowers, a card, anything, whatever you want. I'm at the halfway point. I want to finish strong. So I'm making adjustments daily for me. So for you guys, what can we give you? We can give you the vast accumulated knowledge and wisdom and experience that we've gotten up to this point, and it boils down to professionalism. It really does. If you want to make a lot of money in your career, in your craft, in your trade that you've just studied a year to get to, do you know that there's six-figure guys plus who are auto mechanics? Where's my auto mechanics? Automotive. You guys know that, right? There's guys making six figures in your industry. Any electricians here? I personally know a guy, his business did $6.2 million last year, and he's an electrician in Connecticut. It's good to know. HVAC. Any HVAC guys? There's people who make six-figure in that. You know that, right? The dental community. Where's the dental? Where's our dental people? You know, there's people who work in the... I know a salesperson who went to school. She now sells to dentist office the stuff that dentists use, all of the stuff that you guys use in your labs and stuff, right? That stuff, that dental stuff. She started as a dental assistant and went into sales later. Last year she did $175,000 was her salary. Not everybody in your careers is going to make that much money. What are you going to do to separate yourself? What are you going to do to put yourself in the top possible bracket? I can tell you this. If you have a habit of showing up late, you'll never make top dollars. Professionalism. I tell my people on my team, on time is 15 minutes early, on time is late, and late you're forgotten. Punctuality is part of being professional. In your dress, the way you present yourself, the brand that you carry everywhere you go is part of your professionalism. One more quick story and I'm going to wrap it up. I was talking to a group of young people, and I've mentored young people for 25 years. And I was telling them about how you have to really take notice of how you look. And everywhere you go, you're a billboard. And the things that you do, you're being watched. Incidentally, I used to teach electronics for Porter and Chester, and the average American is videotaped 30 times a day now. So eyes are on you. Everybody's watching. So I told this young man when I was a kid growing up that my father insisted that we always open the door for my mother, or any lady for that matter. I've talked to a lot of ladies, and most ladies today do not mind chivalry, and they will not be upset with you if you open the door. So I've told this young man, I said, you got to look your best everywhere you go, and whenever you get the opportunity to be a gentleman, be a gentleman. So he's at the grocery store, he had to run in and get a few things. He saw some of his buddies from school, and they were talking, and in the corner of his eyes, he saw this little old lady coming across the parking lot. She had her walker, and he said, ah, man, Mr. C said I should be polite. I'm going to try this thing out. So he opens the door for her. She hobbles by him. Isn't that nice? Thank you very much. She walked by, went in, and she did grocery shopping. He continued to talk and mess with his buddies and stuff. He was getting ready to leave. Wouldn't you know, at the register, at the same time, he looked over and she was getting ready to leave at the same time. So he held the door open for her twice in one day. And she said, oh, isn't that nice? 2 times. You're so good. Thank you. Right by him. Well, the next day, he had an interview for a job. And I had gone through the whole process of telling him how to dress, making sure his shoes matched his belt matched his shoes. They were both polished. That he had a shirt and it was ironed and it looked like, you know, he knew what he was doing. And I taught him how to tie a tie because he didn't know how to tie a tie. And he got all dressed up and he went up to this interview and he was there 15 minutes early. But guess what? When he walked into the door, there was already 4 chairs for the 4 people who were interviewing for that position, and the first 3 chairs were filled. Even though he got there 15 minutes early, the other guys got there even earlier than him. So he's already starting to sweat a little. And he came in and he sat down and everybody in there looked as good as he did. Like he just walked off the cover of GQ magazine. So he's sweating a little. All of a sudden, the doors open up in the lobby. In walks this little lady. He says to himself, nah, it can't be. Can't be. And she walks right by the 4 men in a row and she kind of glances over and she did one of these, a double look, and she paused and she says, and he said, you that young man? I said, yeah, that's me. That's you. He said, yeah, that was very nice of you. And the other 3 guys are looking at him. And so she just continues to go across the lobby, through the oak doors, and on the other side and disappears. Within a couple of minutes, those same oak doors open up and a gentleman in a 3-piece suit with a tie and everything, power tie, red, you know, you could tell that he owned the place. He walks in and he says to the first gentleman, thank you for coming out, I appreciate your time, but the position has been filled. Says to the second one, thank you for your time, I appreciate it, you coming out, but the position has been filled. The kid that I mentored, he's sweating. I said, oh man, I lost all this time, I spent money on my suit I didn't even have. He gets to the third person, he said, thank you for your time for coming out, but the position is filled. He gets to the guy I mentored, and he puts his hands out, and he says, Jim, I'll just say his name is Jim, that's not his real name. He says, Jim, I'd like to welcome you to my company. Come on, I'll tell you what you're going to be doing for me. And Jim said, but I didn't even interview. He says, I know, but he says, if you're good enough for my mom, you're good enough for me. That door he held open was the CEO's mom at a store. You never know. Eyes are on you everywhere. Professional has to precede you. Professionalism has to be part of who you are. Your vocabulary, what you say, knowing how, listen, we all can say an occasional hard vowel or hard consonant word, right? But you have to know when is a good time to speak proper words, and if you're going to curse, I just recommend that you try to train yourself not to, then you have to worry about when you're not doing it. If you're a mechanic, don't say, hey man, I'm a mechanic, all mechanics cuss. No, they don't. When my buddy brings his BMW, I was with him. I went to the service manager came out, and the service manager was phenomenal. Service manager, by the way, at that garage was making the most money. So it doesn't matter where you're at. I'm just going to ask you, before I finish up here for tonight, right now, in a few minutes, the professionalism in your life. Are you ready to take it to the next level to increase your personal profitability? It's not for Porter and Chester. It's not just a rule that we wanted you to follow just so you can get through our school. We put that in place for you guys because we understand the world works on that. There's rules to this game called life. We didn't invent them, but we know what they are. Be professional. Work on your personal professionalism. Have pride in everything that you do. Set the mark high for yourself. Because the guy and the girl who set the mark high for themselves are ultimately the ones who are going to make the most amount of money in their chosen career. You guys are awesome. I was talking to Mr. Ryan. He is so proud of these graduating classes that are here tonight. I know the staff is proud of your achievements. I know your family, your friends, your loved ones are proud of your achievements. It's just the beginning. It's just the beginning. You're just getting started. So congratulations again on graduating. Take pride in everything you do. Put professionalism first, and I guarantee you profitability will follow. Good night.